Sweet, sweet revenge, Eagles fans. After the Giants beat us up and took our lunch money 2 weeks ago, we picked ourselves up, dusted ourselves off, called our old friend Brandon Graham, put on our Kelly Greens, then met them at our house to get our lunch money back.
And it came at the perfect time too, Jake. 2 straight wins have us feeling good at the bye week with no game to look forward to this week. We'll look back at the first half of our season. We'll give out some awards, and we'll do it all for the love of Broad Street. For the love of Broad Street, welcome back to the show. I'm Marshall. That's Jake. As bad as that loss felt in New York, this win felt just as good, Jake. No A.J. Brown, no Cam Jurgens, but we still moved the ball, and we did so maybe the best we have all year.
Yeah, it was like a vintage Eagle performance, wasn't it? Jalen throwing sparingly but effectively, but really relying on the run game. In fact, it was the first time since 2013 we had 2 different running backs rush for more than 100 yards in one game, and that was after a season of not being able to get one guy over the 100-yard mark. So, right. Marshall, it's been non-existent all year. How did we turn it on in this game, and how do we keep it rolling moving forward?
Man, it happened really on that second play. It all just opened up for the Eagles. I was surprised by this because Brett Toth is in there at center, was able to really get into the second level on some run blocking that he wasn't able to do in the previous week against the Vikings. I don't know what Stout told them before this game, but whatever he did, it worked really well. I loved seeing Saquon finally get loose to start that. It just felt like that we had seen that so much last year. We had seen him break 60-plus yard runs, 50-plus yard runs like it was a normal thing. And I think we kind of maybe got desensitized to how special that is because it happens so often. But, man, to see him start that way, it set the tone. And then the Eagles were just much more physical in this game than I've seen them play, especially in that run game. Bigsby, we'll talk about him, but he played just unbelievable in this contest. Yeah. His tenacity, he had physicality, he was quick, he was getting out of breaks, he was turning the corner and getting to the sideline. I mean, some of those plays, those are starting running back type of plays. In fact, you know what? Maybe it's time to think about replacing Saquon Barkley, Jake, honestly, because I don't know if there's anybody that could compete with Tank Bigsby at this point. No, but it felt really good to finally get on track a little bit after a just abysmal performance in the run game so far this year, Jake.
Yeah, you're joking about replacing Saquon, but Tank Bigsby's a guy that in Jacksonville, they didn't have a 1-2. They kind of had a 1A, 1B with ETN. And you see why. Like, watching him fail to return kicks, I was getting a little upset about bringing him in. But now you're like, oh, I see why. Because, he was effective in Jacksonville with a subpar O-line, a subpar offense altogether. He was still effective. Now you put him behind an offensive line that seemingly has figured stuff out. And, I mean, you see the result, 104 yards and, an average yards per carry, 11 and a half, which is insane. Marshall,
crazy.
I don't know if this was a change made because there was no Jurgens or if it was just a change they were going to make regardless of who was playing center. But did you notice how much duo we were running? Like, I don't remember us doing that all year. And then this game, we were just shoving it down their throat. And you saw how effective it was. Again, it might have been just because there was no Jurgens. They were less confident in the Toth's 1v1 blocking. But just keep it rolling. If it was an accident, I don't care. Keep doing it because they just had no answer for it.
They were going to those jumbo packages, seeing Fred Johnson come into the game as well on some of these runs. And a lot of runs out of the not the I formation necessarily, but
like under center
for the first time that we've really seen this year. I liked, honestly, this is the first time I think I can say this. I liked the play calling from Kevin Patullo. I thought it was a good mix. We've seen him throughout the course of the season so far. He's done well in the red zone. He's done well in spots, but man, this felt like finally a full game plan coming together. And they were fruitful right from the jump. I mean, at a 65-yard, that kind of sets the tone for this whole game. but it was chunk plays after chunk plays, especially in the running game. Barkley breaks one later in this game. Obviously, he goes out with a hamstring, or what we assume is a hamstring. Hopefully, he's coming back after this,
A
but we've got some
groin, I
time off.
think.
Oh, a groin, that's right.
Groin, yeah.
But it just felt like finally there was some traction. Finally, there were some holes opening up. Maybe this was intentional. Switching up the scheme a little bit, understanding that maybe, especially because Cam's out of this game, we needed to have a little bit more of a push in the middle of the field. The one play in the run game that you can talk about in this game that felt a little more like, it's what the Eagles would normally do, may have gone in the Eagles' favor, might not have needed to go in the Eagles' favor for them to still win, but probably should not have gone in the Eagles' favor, was that tush push that Jalen Hurts had, where it looked like a clear fumble. I mean, he's still moving the ball forward.
That's a fumble.
I don't know why the ref stopped that play, but I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that was a deciding factor in this game. The Eagles were incredibly dominant, and it started with the run game. Bigsby, though, man, he was shifty. I can't say enough about how he just felt. It felt like he had a nose for where the holes were going to be, and he wasn't going to give up. Jalen takes a 20-yard sack in this game, right? And it's a second and 31, and we get 34 yards out of it on the next play from Tank Bigsby. That is incredible performance from a guy that coming into this game, you were still worried about. Honestly, we're going to do midseason awards. I was thinking he was maybe going to be the player that was on my the lowest on the tiers here, but with a performance like that, I think we've found the structure. Will Shipley should be returning kicks. Bigsby should be your second running back.
Yeah, because Shipley, that's an underrated part of this performance. He averaged 33 yards per return.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like in an era of the NFL where there are no big returns anymore, seemingly. Those are really solid numbers. Tank Bigsby couldn't catch a kickoff a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
So yeah, we'll just flip them. And honestly, I don't want to get ahead of ourselves here because coming into this game, the Giants' run defense wasn't
horrible,
very good.
Yeah,
it's not like we ran right through a top 5 run defense, but just because of how ineffective we were, and more tellingly, how ineffective we were against them 2 weeks ago.
Right.
We have
completely
this
different picture.
We have this very recent example of how ineffective the run game was, and we just turned it on its head. And again, if it was accidental, if it was a scheme thing because of no Juergens, I don't care. Keep doing it.
That can be a formula.
Because we talk about how both of us kind of feel like Jalen's been throwing the ball too much. 15 for 20, 179 yards, 4 touchdowns. That is a vintage Jalen Hurts performance.
Yeah.
We're not going to throw it a lot. When we do, it's going to be a dagger. Yep. And that's what it was.
That's what it was.
And we couldn't have done it without probably the most unsung hero on this team, which is Devontae Smith.
Absolutely.
I mean, keeps his mouth shut when A.J. Brown's getting lippy about not getting the ball. I mean, clearly getting frustrated, but not saying anything in the media.
Right.
A.J. Brown goes down, and then Devontae Smith goes 6 catches for 84 yards. I mean, the dude is unreal, Marshall.
It hasn't shown up in the stat line as much right now. He's got an average of 13.4 or 588 yards to this point in the season. But man, those catches, the timeliness of them, when they're happening in these drives, some big third down conversions, and a couple consecutive in this game where it's Devontae on the right sideline, right back to Devontae on the right sideline. He's getting open over the middle on some crossers. And then going back to last week, he's a threat to go deep as well. And the teams out there have to respect that. That could be opening things up underneath for Dallas Goedert, who's honestly having maybe the best year of his career in terms of scoring to this point. But yeah, no, I think if there is somebody to point to right now that outside of Jalen can be kind of your go-to guy on this team, it's going to be Devontae Smith. And AJ being out there last week, Devontae has the best game of his entire career with AJ on the field. You always are concerned that AJ being off the field, you're going to put more attention, of course, on Devontae Smith, but he's able to come through in the clutch. Again, 84 yards, that doesn't necessarily speak to how important, how crucial those yards were in the course of this game. He makes some incredible catches. The one on the sideline, the tiptoe catch right on the sideline, beautiful. It just seems like he's always right there. He's always toe dragging out of bounds. And then, his ability to get yards after the catch, I think underrated. We always think of him like
Oh,
kind of going to the ground, but he's shifty. He's getting an extra 5, 6, 7 yards at least. And then when you see, go back to last week again, able to catch the ball, break away, streaky touchdown there. There's, I think, no better number 2 in the league. And honestly, if not for AJ being on this team, I think DeVonta would be a kind of perennial Pro Bowler in this league as well.
and you think about the tandem between Brown and Smith. Brown's that big physical guy, and Smith's supposed to be your deep field threat.
Right.
But like Smith makes these catches over the middle.
Of course, contested always.
Whacked. He just gets whacked all the time. It just gets right back up, gets right back in the huddle. And I don't have the stat sheet in front of me how big he is. He's not a big guy.
Yeah.
He's a little lightning fast guy that's running these slant routes and getting hammered and popping back up, and then still having that ability to go down the field and make those dagger catches. It really is impressive. And like I said, it's more, I respect him more because of the lack of like off the field noise.
Yeah.
The dude just seemingly just does his job, seems like a great teammate. And him and Saquon have this like bromance going on, and I'm here for it. I love
Absolutely.
it. They're like, you could see like when they hit DeVonta on that long pass last week, Saquon's to the back,
right?
And then when Saquon hits that big run this week, DeVonta Smith's like giving him one of those.
And credit to DeVonta on that play. I mean, he has a big block down the field to spring that touchdown as well. This is the kind of wide receiver that you want. Prototypical wide receiver on the team. He's by the way, 6 foot, 170 pounds, Jake. So he's a small guy. But
I weighed 170 pounds in like freshman year of high school.
he's an incredible player though. I mean, what he has in pound for pound, he's one of the toughest guys in the league, I think. When it comes down to it. He's always there making contested catches. He's always going up for the deep balls. And you said it, he's never complaining. He's never, going out of his way to make us think about things in a public way. You do see him on the sideline from time to time. Obviously, in recent weeks,
he's
especially,
a competitor.
He wants.
I'm fine with that.
It makes sense. But the thing about him, those intangibles, the effort plays, those blocks down the field, he understands the importance of every one of these plays, and it's not just about, am I going to get 115 yards a game, or am I going to get 8 catches a game, whatever it's going to be. It's about how can we make sure that this team moves forward and continues to win games. And I think that's what the Eagles liked out of him coming out of college. A Heisman Trophy winner. When does a Heisman Trophy winner come into this league, especially from the wide receiver position, and have the type of mentality, the humble nature that a DeVonta, that is so rare. The Eagles saw it then. They wanted that to be a part of their franchise, and I'm really glad that they did, because I think even we don't want there to be a future for this team where there's no AJ Brown. I know there's been rumors out there. I know that there's been talk about him being traded. I don't think that that's a realistic outcome here at all. But we know that if there is a future where DeVonta Smith is your number 1, he's still a great number 1.
We're in good hands, right?
We're in great hands.
And you want to talk about effort plays. Let's talk about this run defense. I mean, we've been getting gashed all year, and obviously that horrific injury to Scadaboo didn't help the Giants' case on the ground. But 68 rushing yards for the game. I mean, this is a guy that just scored, what was it, 3 touchdowns the last time we played on us, and to flip that narrative on its head was it. Part of it is Carter not being there, right? I'm pretty sure New York was the game that Carter missed. But let's be honest, we go from getting gashed to, 68 yards total is nothing, especially when 17 of them are the quarterback, which are like in my opinion, not true rushing yards, right? So what did we do differently? Because I'm not sure why it was better. I just saw that it was better.
Yeah, I think you can't underestimate the presence of Nakobe Dean on this field. I'll say it again. We saw it last week. He, in the running game so far this year, he has been very stout. He gives up that down the sideline catch to a tight end, and I thought he was in good position to really make a play on that ball. But outside of that play, like no negative plays from Nakobe Dean. And I think that he understands the gaps. This was a guy who was just a few years now removed from being kind of the captain on this defense, being the kind of the
Right.
signal caller in the back there. Obviously, that was kind of taken over by Zach Bond, but you know he has been a part of this defense and the Vic Fangio defense now for a few years, and he's just been stout. I just think that his presence on that field, now that you have three linebackers that you can rely on for good play, the rookie is he's just going to continue to get better and better. I think he's really gleaning a lot from these really all pro level players around him. I think Nakobe Dean, obviously the injuries have hampered him a little bit, but I think he's
Right.
he's up there in terms of quality linebackers in this league. Last year he was playing out of his mind, and Zach Bond, of course, maybe at top 5 linebacker in the league right now.
Top 3. I mean,
Yeah.
if not 1, he's incredible. But I think that ability to stop the run is what translated into, for the first time all year, a successful pass rush.
Yeah.
5 sacks by 5 different players, and this is coming from us who've been panicking about the lack of pass rush.
Right.
And all of a sudden, a switch flipped. Brandon Graham was not playing in this game, but it was just the fact that we called him, just like
his
woke
energy in the
whole
room.
up.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah.
just woke the room up, and we said, "Oh, BG's back. Let's go get after the quarterback." And it was beautiful to see. It really was. I mean, you see how that pass rush, which forget about last year in the Super Bowl when we didn't even have to blitz. But that first Super Bowl against the Patriots, that was like the thing we hung our hat on.
Right.
Was having not just 4 guys, but like really 8 guys, because we were just cycling through and constantly getting after the quarterback. And that kind of performance makes me wonder, maybe we have the ability to get back there, because after the first few games of this year, I went, oh boy, if Quinyon and Cooper don't hold up, we're going to be in trouble. But now you're like, oh, maybe there's something cooking here, Marsh.
Yeah, I think that I it's kind of a mixed bag for me, because I think Jackson Dart was holding onto the ball a little bit longer than he maybe would have liked to. I think there were times when he could have gotten the ball away, and the Eagles, I remember the one play that Carter had, well, his first sack of the year, which is crazy to be saying that at week 8 of his season.
Yeah, right.
But Carter, is kind of the beneficiary of Jalix Hunt missing Jackson Dart on just trying to tackle him as he's scrambling back there, and then Carter finishes the play there. But we saw too much of that, I think, still, where they were getting him down because they were able to contain the pocket. Maybe that was the game plan here, as he had leaked out too much, and they thought that he was going to try to do that again, kind of drop his eyes down, pull out, try to find his seam. But it still feels like they're not tackling sure enough in the backfield. The other thing that was interesting about this game too, I watched back the sacks that they had, the 5 of them, and most of them were like 2-yard losses on sacks. So
yeah, right. He's scrambling and he's like almost to the
coming
line,
back up. So it wasn't as big of an impact as Jalen Hurts giving up a 20-yard sack in this game. But
which didn't matter, by the way.
It didn't end up mattering.
We got it back on the next play.
Didn't end up mattering. But I think that there's positive signs there, and I really am waiting for Nolan Smith's return. I think Jalix Hunt maybe in this game turned a corner a little bit, and is gonna, he kind of got off the snide a little bit, getting that first sack for him, and Jalen Carter as well. So hopefully with a week now, a bye, get a little bit of rest, get a break, come back and be an even stronger pass rush with some reinforcements coming here. One other thing I want to throw out here that we missed on the passing game. How about that throw down the sideline to Jahan Dotson in this game? How about his catch over the top? What a play from him. That's not a great thrown ball, in my opinion.
It's a poorly thrown ball.
Yeah.
Let's not begin. That's an underthrown ball.
Yeah.
That probably, at least 5 times out of 10 gets picked.
Right. A Quinyon back there is going to pick that.
Right.
In the secondary. But knowing that you have the matchup that you like, breaks down the field, Jalen's going to toss that up. He's okay with, taking the risk there. And man, we'll get to it, because I think this is going to be my biggest surprise. So we'll save that for midseason awards here, Jake.
Okay.
But let's move into it. Let's move into it.
Why wait? Why give the people what they want,
That's right.
Marshall?
That's right.
It's a bye week. There's nothing to look forward to.
No.
Next Sunday's going to stink. I'm going to have to watch like the Broncos play or something dumb.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the midseason awards. And I want to start out with the most controversial one of them all.
Hmm.
Who's the biggest flop, Marshall? Who can we cast away as a flop?
Honestly, the biggest flop to me right now, I think it goes without saying, but I think it's got to be Adoree Jackson.
Okay.
To this point in the season, again, I think his play has been moderately better as of late, but he's still not the player that we need in the secondary. He's still not the guy who's going to answer the question as to who do you want on the outside corner going into a playoff game, which of course the Eagles have aspirations of getting back to. I just think maybe the Eagles were a little bit overconfident in him going into this season because
Right.
they didn't have another good option. Maybe they were hoping for more out of Keely Ringo, which would be my other, if I was going to choose a 1A, 1B, it would be
Right.
one of the two of them.
What stinks is it's the same position,
It
which is a
is.
nightmare
Yeah,
for Eagles fans. But yeah, continue.
very bad. I think that he has, in the Eagles' losses, given up some big plays that really could have changed the game. And man, it's tough. It's tough for me to choose between he and Ringo because the effort play for me that stands out, the lack of effort play for me that stands out is when Keely Ringo
Oh,
gives up that long completion and then the guy goes to the ground and it's in the Giants game, the last one, not the most recent one, but the first one, goes to the ground and then Keely Ringo doesn't even touch him down, just
right.
stands
Yeah.
there,
What are
and then
you
the guy gets
doing?
back up and he gets an extra 5 yards. Like that was sickening to me, Jake. But who
Right.
do you have biggest flop of the year so far?
Okay. So I want to say first, I love your call there for biggest flop, but the metric I was using was who did I think was going to be great and isn't.
Got it.
And
Okay.
the reason I didn't pick Adoree Jackson is because I watched the preseason and I
He
went,
was
"Oh, this
not
guy's
good.
this guy's
Yeah.
horrible." So I
Yeah.
didn't pick him as a flop because I just he's not that good. My biggest flop, a little unconventionally, is Kevin Patullo.
Oh,
Um, because when they announced him, the organization seemed so high on this guy.
mhm.
If we don't give him the OC job, someone's gonna poach him.
Right.
He's the next big thing. And I will say, like, I think maybe I've been a little harsh on him because, when you look into his background, he was our passing game coordinator guy, right? He was dialing up X's and O's in the passing game. And I think when you look at Jalen Hurts' performances this year, you can see that translating
Right.
because Jalen Hurts is having a career year just purely stats wise. Like
Absolutely.
forget wins and losses,
Yeah.
just stats wise. Hurts is over, like he's top five. And that's probably the first time we can say that in his career. Stats wise, he's a top five quarterback.
Yeah.
I think that's because of Kevin Patullo. The trade-off is he's, in my opinion, almost entirely to blame for the two losses.
I agree.
And the almost losses that we suffered against Tampa Bay
Tampa Bay and the Rams.
and the Rams, right?
Mhm.
So I view him as the guy that we thought we're not having a 2023 repeat. This isn't Brian Johnson. This is a new guy, a new age guy that's going to come in here and revolutionize things. And it stinks that we're talking about it now because we're coming off the first game where I said he did a good job.
Exactly. Yeah.
But not counting last week, I think there's no question for me he's the biggest flop.
Well, first game, if you're saying the first game that he's not the problem in week 8, then yeah, he's definitely the problem.
He's a problem, right? He's a problem. So what about the biggest surprise? Who's shocked you?
So the biggest surprise for me has honestly been a negative surprise, and that is that Saquon Barkley to this point in the season has only rushed for 519 yards, 127 attempts. That is close to, I mean, it's fewer attempts at this point in the season than it was last year, but an average of 4.1, that is close to a career low for him. 2021 with the Giants, he had 3.7. 23 with the Giants, he had 3.9. But I'm not expecting the offensive line, the combination of the offensive line and the best back in the league, in my opinion, to produce just 519. Obviously,
Right.
if you take out that last performance from these stats, it looks way,
Horrible.
way worse
Horrible.
too. So that honestly, the lack of the run game for me, nothing else tops it. You had a couple of games this year where Jalen was able to get moving, get the ground game going a little bit. Especially that first game against the Cowboys. That's the one that stands out to me as a good rushing performance from him. But man, no running game. That has been the hallmark of this Eagles offense for so long. What about you?
Right. So you went kind of bad surprise. I'll go a good surprise.
Okay.
And for me, it's Jahad Campbell. This was a guy coming in that you said, the report said he's got all the physical tools, but we're
Right.
not sure about between the ears. Can this guy read plays? Can this guy, break down an offense
Hmm.
with the speed necessary that you need to have in the NFL to be an effective linebacker? And I mean, in my opinion, he's just blown me away.
Yeah.
Like it helps when you're playing next to Zach Bond, right? I think we have to say that.
Absolutely.
If you put Jahad Campbell next to your average middle linebacker, maybe I'm not giving him as glowing of a review. But I mean, to be a rookie, to come in here and make a difference when we needed him. No Nakobe Dean, right?
Yeah.
He was out for the
Pressure
first, what was
spot.
it, 4 or 5 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
There was an empty hole that needed to be filled by somebody young. I mean, Trotter Jr., Smile Munden, or Jahad Campbell. Someone had to
Hmm.
step up. Campbell stepped up and quite frankly just blew me away with how effective he was.
And, given that he had that history as well of potentially being injury prone, at this point, he's
Right.
played. I mean, he's out on the
Yeah.
field, and man, the speed is crazy. That's the one thing
It really
that,
is.
from a linebacker standpoint,
It
you just
is.
don't expect to see.
Yeah.
Midseason low light here. This one is obviously tough to think about, but
We've
the
had a lot of them. We've had a
yeah,
lot of low lights.
honestly, the midseason low light for me was, and this is something that I mean, I could have honestly listed this as the biggest surprise this year. That to this point in the year, Jalen Hurts has only thrown one interception.
And
But
that's crazy.
that's the midseason low point for me. That moment where we're going down to potentially make it a one score game. The Eagles are deep in the red zone where they have converted up to this point in the season against the Giants. That first go round against the Giants, where it's like, okay, they're in line to finally make this a tight one again. AJ Brown is wide open over the middle, and Hurts throws to the outside, tries to force it to Jahan Dotson, and it's
Yeah.
taken back the other way for almost a pick six. Probably should have been a pick six if that guy was a little faster. But
Right.
that for me was like, oh no, we've got a serious problem on our hands, especially coming off a week where the Eagles should have won. I think
Right.
that contest against the Broncos and kind of took their foot off the gas a little bit. I was like, man,
Right.
what's going on with this offense? What's going on? The Eagles, we've just seen them so consistently come back and make these big pushes at the end and at least look like they have life. And it felt like wind out of your sails completely. Are we going to be a 2-2 or a 4-12 team, 4-13 team? Who knows? Looked like it was going to be going that way. What about you?
For me, it was same game. But it was I mentioned it earlier. It was allowing a rookie running back to score 3 touchdowns on us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Tough.
I just, as an Eagles fan, I think the thing that we always kind of hung our hat on, even when we weren't, perennially a playoff team, even
Right.
weren't even good, we
Yeah.
played hard-nosed defense, right? You had to at least earn your points against
Yeah.
us. And I just felt like we were just letting this kid. Now, granted, I want to be clear. I love watching Scadaboo. I'm actually sad that he's injured because he's
That was
just
a
really fun to
horrible
watch.
injury. Man, that was
Yeah.
so
I
bad.
don't want that happening to anyone, but I
No.
just mean from pure like a guy on the field perspective, I love watching that dude.
Yeah.
And it was I despite all that, despite how electric he is as a player, I was like, how are we letting a punk rookie do this?
Mhm.
That you don't do that against the Philadelphia Eagles. And I mean, again, they just like I said, they took our lunch money, and it was a sad feeling that I haven't had it in a while as an Eagles fan. But boy,
Yeah.
did we have it against the Giants that first time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, we got the low light out of the way here, Jake. Let's talk about the midseason highlight. I've kind of got
Yeah.
two here that reestablish my confidence that the Eagles were going to be in a better spot. Number one was the win against the Rams on the block field goal
Yeah.
with Jordan Davis returning
Oh,
that for a touchdown. What a moment! What a guy! you don't expect that to happen in that
Right.
situation, especially after they had just blocked the field goal right prior to that. So you're thinking, no, lightning cannot strike twice. Well, it did, and it struck with even more fervor than the first time because you
Yeah.
have the big man running down the field looking like a track star, sprinting into the end zone. And then the other play that kind of stands out to me this year was the long touchdown to Devontae Smith against the Vikings. It just felt
Oh,
like
that one
that one was like,
cathartic.
oh man,
Yeah.
just a
We
weight off the
needed that.
shoulders. Oh my goodness. Like this to this point, it's been back and forth. Like, are the Eagles going to be able to pass it all? There's no real consistency. Is Jalen Hurts able to throw the ball? And then he unleashes a bomb down the field, and it felt like, okay, all right, we know what we can do.
Everyone exhale. Yeah, we have a
Yeah.
passing game. It's fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Reestablish some confidence for sure.
Right. So you stole mine with the Rams kick because I mean I think back, I've been an Eagles fan for what am I? I'm 29, so call it like 25 years of
Yeah.
consistently watching the Eagles. I can't remember screaming my head off like that for a regular season game since like the new Miracle at the New
Yeah.
Meadowlands. Like that
Yeah.
that other than that, which that was crazy. I don't even know if that Rams win tops it. But to not only like if you just block that kick, it's effectively the same
Of
result, right?
course.
It's the fact that like the biggest dude in the NFL is trucking it back. Like
Yeah.
just we've already won, right? He could just go down. But no, he's hauling
Yeah.
like a semi truck
Completely
down the middle
determined.
of the field to like that. Did you see that wide shot from the sky cam with the fans going nuts?
Yeah.
I mean, like that is what sports in general is all about. That's what football is
Completely.
all about. Just like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it. Just like pure unadulterated joy
That
because
moment. Wow.
of a giant man blocking a field goal and then running 100-yard dash
Huffing it.
the other way. It was incredible.
Oxygen
Incredible.
needed after that one for him,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah. Or it was just pure adrenaline. He didn't feel anything.
I mean,
He was
that
just
could be it
walking
too.
on air for weeks and or not days and
The
days.
next week.
Right.
So this one's kind of a more nuanced one. Most improved player. I
Right.
think there are a couple people that stand out to me. I think after yesterday, maybe we could give this to Tank Bigsby from the start of the year to
Oh
now.
yeah. Especially by that kickoff, like I don't know how to catch a football to I'm just gonna run 11 yards per carry against the
Yeah,
Giants.
right. But I mean, we talked about him before on this team. I don't know. I have really liked the play of Muro Ojomo to this year or to this
Oh,
point
that's a
in the
good
year.
shout.
He is leading the team in sacks, I believe, with 4, which for an interior lineman is a really impressive stat to be thrown out there, especially given that the Eagles have had such trouble, especially like the first week we didn't have Jalen Carter. A couple weeks ago we didn't have Jalen Carter. There's been this flux in the middle of the field there. Merle Jomo has just been solid all year long, and yeah, we saw flashes of it a little bit last year, but this is the first time that he's really had more on his shoulders. There's no Milton Williams in the middle. There's the interior linemen that we had before are different, and you need somebody opposite Jordan Davis or Jalen Carter to be given that interior push, and I think he's been doing really well. He'd be my most improved or most impressive guy that was kind of unsung before that, and then uh, as the season goes on, I'm again you mentioned him, but more and more pressed by number 30 out there. I just think Jahad Campbell is playing
Yeah,
lights out,
out of his
and
mind.
especially for a rookie, to understand that position, as you mentioned, really tough position to play, and I just expect really good things from him for the rest of the way.
Yeah, Ojomo's a great shout just because we can't forget like there's a Fletcher Cox size hole
Yeah,
in
in
that
this
defensive line.
franchise, yeah, yeah,
And I mean, listen, we knew. I mean, Jalen Carter's a great player. He's not going to fill those shoes right away. It's
no,
just it's impossible.
no,
But as you say, with Carter not even being in, for a guy to be able to step up and contribute in a meaningful way, especially a guy like you said, pretty unsung. Like there wasn't a lot of people saying, "Oh, Jomo's the next big thing."
No, no.
But he's getting it done on the field, and that's what matters. My biggest surprise, or excuse me, most improved player, is Penn State alum Jahan Dotson.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how ineffective he was last year, I mean, when we brought him in, I was like, this dude is gonna be the next big thing. He's basically, he's a wide receiver 2 on any other team. We're bringing him in. He's gonna just revolutionize this offense.
He's another Devontae Smith like
right.
player.
That's what I thought we were getting. And last year, at the end of last season, I just went, he ain't it. And it's not for the lack of effort or anything like that.
Yeah.
This is a kid I want to just let the viewers know. I've been following that kid since high school, reporting on him for Nazareth. He was an incredible athlete, incredible talent, showed it at Penn State, and he was showing it at Washington before we brought him in. I'm not saying Jahan Dotson wasn't a good player. I was saying he wasn't a fit for our system.
Yeah.
And he's kind of made me eat my words this year. I mean, another guy that's just made big plays when we needed them. And not that we needed that play where he mossed that poor Giants cornerback, but it was a huge moment. And he basically put the nail in the coffin of that game.
Yeah, that game's over. You put in your backups, both teams at that point.
Right.
So that's ball game.
Right. If he keeps putting those kind of performances in, we need to start discussing the fact that we have like a generational 1, 2, 3 wide receiver combo.
I mean, I think that's a possibility. Prior to him, it was Quez Watkins really in that role that was prominent, right? And he had the drops like crazy. So Jahan being able to make some of those contested catches, especially yesterday, and prior times in the season too. I mean, you forget maybe, but in the Super Bowl, he had a massive catch to set the Eagles up for close to a touchdown. What we thought initially was a touchdown and then turned into a tush push touchdown. But and then he had another catch in that game too. So I think he's slowly been coming on and maybe finding his place in this offense. It's just really tough for a guy like that when you have Devontae,
those guys in front of you,
and you have
Goddard. I mean, you're competing with him for touches. You're competing with Saquon Barkley,
right? And
touches.
finally, Saquon's getting some maybe screen passes out here too,
right?
So this one's the next one's most valuable player, and I could go either way on this one. I've got kind of two guys in mind. I think
same here.
I think you could give it to Zach Bond, number one.
That's one of my choices.
Yeah.
I mean, no question, in my opinion, he's the only guy every single game who you went, what more do you want him to do?
Right. Leading the team in tackles. He's always in the right spot. Just making impact plays in every game. You cannot overlook his contribution and what he has meant to a team that has seen so much flux on the outside and on the defensive line. And he is solid in the middle. He's playing with different guys now in the linebacking core and just keeping it all together for a Vic Fangio defense that has at times been just looking for answers to really tough questions. You go back to week 1 and he was making really good plays against the Dallas Cowboys. He had a pick in that game, I believe, right? That was the game they had to pick in. I can't remember.
I don't remember if it was a pick or it was like a pass defended or something. But it's hard because they all blend together. He just makes these unreal plays game after game after game. He's been a lot more effective on the blitz this year. I don't know if you've noticed that. Like, it's another dimension he's kind of added. He's, for my money, top 3 at least. If you let my bias talk, he's the best middle linebacker in the game.
Yeah, I could get on board with that, but hey, I got the bias too, so I guess you shouldn't be looking to me for answers on that front. And then the other one that I just you cannot forgive or cannot overlook the play of Jalen Hurts to this point in the season. I
have the exact same 2 guys.
It's the amount of scrutiny he has been under, and I'll say it again. Dak Prescott is not a good quarterback compared to this guy.
Yeah, another unsolicited Cowboys slander. I love it. This is what the Birds fans want. Just out of nowhere. Screw those guys.
He's not good. He threw 2 picks in the most recent game. I mean, this guy's not a good player. Get it through your heads. At some point, you know what? Don't get it through your heads. Don't get it through your heads. Keep him forever. I want you to keep him until he's 45. I want you to Tom Brady his butt. Because That guy is going to go out there and he's going to win you a solid 9 games every year and never make it past the first round of the playoffs. And you can bet your butt on it. Anyway, let me say, I think that Jalen, to this point in the season, has been maybe the most scrutinized quarterback in the entire league. And he has returned, like, answered that every time, answered those questions every time they've been asked of him. And yeah, the Eagles had a 2-game slide. He missed some throws in both. He missed a throw in each of those games. You could argue that would have made a difference, right? He missed a long one over the top to AJ Brown that, again, AJ kind of stopped on, and he missed one that was super wide open in the Giants game to Devontae Smith. Outside of those 2 throws and the pick six, the pick in the Giants game.
I mean, that's it.
But we're trying to force it in that situation too. So he's like going, we gotta have it. But what other throws in this entire season can you even question of his? He has thrown 1 interception, 2 interceptions in his last 500 attempts or something, or 2 turnovers.
Insane.
2 turnovers on the year. I mean, this guy is not turning the ball over. He is killing it in the run game still. The teams are trying to contain him more. But man, perfect passer rating last week, 140 plus this week. What do you want? Unreal. What do you want from Jalen Hurts?
Yeah, I mean, I say this all the time. I'm one of his harshest critics. He's under a microscope, my microscope, every time he plays. I'm waiting for that dude to mess up. And this year, there's just nothing. There's nothing there. I mean, if you want, like, listen, those 2 throws, I don't care about the interception because I don't think we win that game even if he completes.
No, I don't think so either. If we're going to give up 3 rushing touchdowns, I mean, we're not going to win games.
Right. So. And listen, if the other 2, if he has 2 mistakes through 8 games,
crazy.
What do you want? Crazy. I mean, I don't expect the dude to be a robot. And you take into account, like, my biggest critique was, like, last year through the regular season. I want to specify that he was kind of a system quarterback, right? Like,
yeah.
But when you don't turn the ball over ever, that's what your job is. And if you have 2 turnovers in 500 attempps, you are doing your job perfectly, even if you are a system quarterback.
Okay.
So what do you want?
Yeah. What do you want? Okay, Jake, I want to do something with you. And you're probably going to know it because you're going to know which stats are which here. But I'm going to choose 2 quarterbacks, right? 2 quarterbacks in this league.
I wonder which ones.
Yeah. 2 quarterbacks in this league. And I want you to tell me which stat line is which. Which is Jalen Hurts' stat line? Well, you're going to know it because you're going to know. I'm going to give you the touchdowns. I won't give you the interceptions. And then I'll tell you the interceptions after. All right. So let's start with this. 68.5% completion, 1,397 yards, 11 touchdowns, 103 rating. And 70.2% completion, 1,677 yards, 15 touchdowns, 114 rating. Which one's Jalen?
I mean, can you give me who the other quarterback is?
Josh Allen.
Wow. So that in my head, the better stats would be the Josh Allen one.
You are incorrect.
But it's flipped.
You are incorrect. Josh Allen has also thrown 4 interceptions this year.
Well,
11 touchdowns, 4 interceptions to Jalen's 15 and 1 interception.
And you talk about, like, a quarterback the media just loves. Oh, Josh Allen, you're so good.
He's so incredible.
You're a generational talent, even though you have 0 Super Bowl wins. You are so good. Everyone's jealous of you because you're so good at football. That's wild.
Yeah,
I mean,
and Jalen's the one getting questioned about whether he's an adequate passer or not.
Right. Yeah. And listen, I'm gonna point the finger right at me because I'm part of the problem. Because if you say who are the top 2 quarterbacks in this league, I would say on any given Sunday it's either Allen or Lamar Jackson.
Yeah,
those are, like, the 2 guys that I think are, like, the pinnacle.
Right.
And I mean, at least on paper, and us football fans love paper and stats.
And don't get me wrong, Jake. Right. And don't get me wrong, Jake. To this point in his career, this is Josh Allen's 2nd highest completion percentage ever. His
So this is like a
2020
good year
season,
for him,
this is a great year for
right?
Josh Allen with 4 picks. Last year, he had 6 interceptions. That was his lowest of his career. Obviously, he is on pace to have more interceptions than that. But even if he just doubles it in the next 8 games, we're looking at 8 interceptions, which would be his second lowest total of the whole time that he's been in the league since 2018, right? Like, don't come at me and say Jalen
That's
Hurts is
wild.
not a good passing quarterback. His numbers,
Yeah.
sure, they're not gaudy numbers, but if you're telling me that Josh Allen is a good quarterback and is a good passer, an adequate passer in this league, Jalen Hurts fits that to a T, and he is exceeding the passer rating and the
Well,
completion percentage and the touchdowns and the interceptions and the yards of Josh Allen to this point in the season.
and listen, I'm not gonna say, Jalen Hurts doesn't have weapons around him. That's clearly not the case. But like, this is a dude that's faced a ton of adversity,
Yeah,
constantly changing offensive coordinators. I mean,
absolutely.
even going back to like college. I mean, just dude never has an OC that goes back to back years. And it's another year with now. Granted, at least this guy was in the building, but so was Brian Johnson, and you saw how that worked out.
Yeah.
He just delivered. Like there's a guy I was having one of these spirited debates in the off season with a fellow Eagles fan, um, and at that point I had said he's not a top 5 quarterback, and he looked at me and he said, "The dude wins. What else do you want?" And I
Yeah.
said, "You know what? I don't really have a retort for that. I
No.
do have a bunch of stats that I threw back at him, but you got me there because the dude just like." Especially when the lights come on, like postseason, Super Bowl. Like, who else do you want? You want Patrick Mahomes? He just got torn apart by us last year.
Right.
In my opinion, Hurts had the better game in the Super Bowl we lost to the Chiefs. I think he
I would think
outplayed
so.
Mahomes.
Yep, he definitely did.
Obviously, the Chiefs as a team outplayed the Eagles, but not at the quarterback position, in my opinion. I mean, the dude, to your point, is just a winner, and I think that's probably worth more than any stat that you can throw out there.
Yeah,
Which is
Jalen.
why he's an MVP.
Yeah, Jalen has a better quarterback rating than Patrick Mahomes right now. Patrick has 2 picks. Jalen has about 130 yards fewer through the air, and Jalen has him beat by 4 points on the completion percentage. Pat is at 66%, Jalen at 70.
Well,
Okay,
and
what do you
he
want?
beat him. He beat him this
And he
year,
beat him head
right?
to
Like
head
Jalen won the Super Bowl. We won regular season this year.
twice, 2 times.
And
What do
listen,
you want?
that's a guy last year already said I would rather Mahomes. Right now, week 8, give me Jalen Hurts over. I think I'd still take a healthy Lamar Jackson, but
Maybe.
other than that, he's probably number 2 for me.
Yeah, I'm totally in on it. All right, let's finish this up real quick with our midseason
Yeah.
awards here. And then we're going to talk about some baseball here as well. But
Yes.
second half hero, this is kind of a predictive one, of course, Jake. So I think that the second half hero for me is going to have to be Jalen Carter. I think he
Okay.
needs to step up. I think yesterday or the game Sunday was a good sign for Jalen Carter that he's able to give that effort, get that sack. I want to see him play a complete game. And when I say complete game, I'm not just talking about snaps. I'm talking about he needs to be the game record that we know he can be. And dating back to last year, he was able to be at times, especially in the playoffs. We need full effort from Jalen Carter. I think we can get it. And I think that he can still be that run stuffer in the middle. Yesterday or Sunday was a good sign in that way as well. I think this defense, yes, the offense has struggled at times. It seems like it's getting itself back on track a little bit, but man, the Eagles without Jalen Carter in last year's playoffs do not win the Super Bowl. They would have gone
That's
down.
true.
They would have gone down in that game, I'm convinced, against the Rams at the link, if not for Jalen Carter making mammoth plays on 2 consecutive
Yeah.
downs against Matt Stafford, who was the hottest quarterback in the league at that point.
Right.
We need that Jalen Carter to show up. We don't need I'm going to spit in Dak Prescott's face as much as I might like to see that again. We don't need that out of Jalen Carter. So
Yeah.
who are you thinking here?
For me, it's like a collective award for the offensive line.
Okay.
I still think when healthy, we have the best offensive line in the league. The problem's been that first part with the health bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to think optimistically, and I think this bye week's coming at a great time, which I feel like doesn't usually happen for the Eagles. I feel like the bye weeks either always way too early or way too late, and we don't get like the big benefit out of it. It's exactly halfway this year. I think it's going to come at a perfect time to get Juergens healthy. Dickerson has played last game, but he hasn't been right. Lane
Yeah.
Johnson hasn't been right. Let those guys rest up this week and come back. I really think we figured something out in that run game. Even if Saquon is banged up more so than we think he is at this moment,
Mm-hmm.
I'm confident in Tank Bigsby now running behind him.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm confident in Shipley. I
Yeah.
really am.
And if AJ
I
Dillon
just
could hold onto the ball, we'd be pretty
well,
confident in him, I
right, yeah,
feel, as
because
well.
that dude's unreal. Yeah, if they
Yeah.
just put some stickum on his gloves or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think like we could have that domination up front that we had last year if everyone's healthy.
Yeah, I agree. Well, Jake, we've talked about the Birds long enough. It's time to let them rest for the bye week and move across the street to the bank. We all know that Philadelphia fans have one of the most toxic media environments in the entire country. So I don't think I was really even shocked by this one, Jake.
Oh, well, see, I was because I at least think there's sub journalistic integrity
Yeah.
in these things. But there are rumors of trade talks for Bryce Harper, of all people. The guy that was like the big fish. We got him. We signed him for 1,000,000 years. He's never leaving. He's got a no trade clause, by the way.
Right.
Media,
Hello.
no trade clause.
Yeah.
I don't get it. This all stems from some comments Dave Dombrowski made during that end of season press conference. He said he didn't think Harper was content with the year he had, which I don't even think is untrue. I don't know about you, Marshall.
Oh, absolutely not.
But then the media somehow spins that into the Phillies want to trade Bryce Harper. Oh my God, tell everyone.
No.
And Dombrowski has since come out and said he's not getting traded. There's no way. He's not getting traded. We don't want to trade him. Harper has been quoted as saying, though, that these rumors made him obviously feel uncomfortable. And he was citing those times when he was with the Nationals when there were, trade rumors swirling around. I mean, obviously, that no fault in Bryce here. It would make me uncomfortable to not have job security too, even if it is completely fake by the media.
Right.
But Marshall, how much do you blame the way Dombrowski handled that presser versus just the multi-headed monster that is Philadelphia media?
Was he trying to make a headline, Jake? Because it almost feels like he might have been. I don't know. It just the way that he answered it, it left that up to an individual interpretation a touch. I don't know. Overblown for sure by the media. I don't disagree with that at all. But I expect that in Philly sports media particularly, this sort of thing happens. To say that, yes, Bryce Harper is probably not happy with the way that his season went. Absolutely not. I don't think that he is. I don't think that he is happy. That is not to say anything of his future with this franchise, which I don't think that he would say he is unhappy with the potential, at least, of being in Philadelphia for the remainder of his career. The way that he's spoken about this fan base, the way he's spoken about this city, the way that he's made it his home. He's on TikTok now, making coffee, doing whatever he wants to in his house. Like the guy just likes being in Philly. He has talked so many times about the blue collar workmanship vibe that he gets when he's in the stadium. He likes the booze. He likes the not the drinking booze, but like the boo, you suck booze.
Yeah, right. He's a Mormon. He actually doesn't like the other kind of booze.
That's true.
But the stadium booze, those are good.
The stadium booze are good. He appreciates a fan base that is engaged and is wanting success, and he wants to bring that success. And I think if he left this right now, Jake, so let's say the Phillies do decide, you know what, I think it's time to move on from Bryce Harper. That would be a stupid decision, I think, by the way. But if they do decide to do that, if Bryce has a say in it, he's going to say, no, I want to finish the job. I came here with one purpose in mind. To steal a Jalen Hurts quote, I had a purpose before anyone had an opinion. And I think that's kind of the case for Bryce Harper in that he wants to win a World Series with this team. And he almost got that World Series a few years back And I think that that's still, that fire's still within him. He hasn't been playing as well. He's been more injury prone. We'll see what happens with the rest of his career, but I think he wants to spend it here, especially making the transition over to first base. Jake, that's a longevity move for a guy like
Right.
that.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing that really bothers me about the reports because, like, I mean, let's be honest. Me and you are part of the Philly sports media.
Yeah, that's true.
We say what comes to our mind.
Yeah.
We don't necessarily. It doesn't need to be rooted in fact. It's all rooted in
Mm-hmm.
opinion. That's
Mm-hmm.
fine. But I think everyone who puts content out there has a responsibility to like make sure you don't take things completely out of context.
Right.
And I feel like
Right.
that's what this was, whether it was intentional or not. I mean, Dombrowski did not say Harper's underperforming. We don't want him.
Right. He
I
sucks.
mean,
He's got to go.
right. Like, no, he just said he didn't have the year that I think he wanted to. Bryce Harper's a guy that is perennially like top 5 in the MLB and everything. That's just the dude he is. And this year he was amazing. Had like a 3.5 WAR. Maybe it was even a little higher. He's elite, but it wasn't the top 5
Yeah.
that we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
listen, there's the dude's human. He's not going to be top 5 in everything every year.
There's no guarantees in any of these leagues,
Right.
Jake. Like
Nothing is automatic, especially when like you're the guy. Like, okay, if I'm a starting pitcher for the Braves and I sit down in my meeting to prep for the Philadelphia Phillies,
you got to plan for Bryce Harper.
I am planning for Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber this year. Like, those are the 2 guys I care about. Everything else will fall into place. Game plan for those guys. So Bryce Harper, not that that's new for him. That's probably the way it's been most of his entire career.
Mm-hmm.
But to then say, I can't believe he only had a 3.5 WAR is crazy.
Yeah.
Because, like, and again, I do think Dombrowski's right. It's not the year he would have hoped for.
No.
But he didn't say we're thinking about moving him because he's not good enough. It's stupid.
No, it's
especially
ridiculous.
when, like I said, Dombrowski doesn't even have the power to do that. Even if he found the perfect trade partner, Bryce Harper can hit the no button if he wants. So
he's got the veto.
Again, this isn't. Yours is probably a closer to the right answer. I think this is completely and entirely on the media, and I don't like them. But I don't like us either because we're part of it. Enough about that. Let's talk about the free agent situation, okay? We're gonna start this fun little series where we're gonna take a deep dive, position by position, into the Phillies free agent situation.
I'm excited about this.
We're gonna start behind the plate, and then kind of plot our way around the diamond here.
Yeah, catcher's probably the position we need to address the most because JT is obviously going to be the big fish when it comes to free agency this year. So we know what he brings to the table. Of course, we know who JT is. We know what he brings to us here. If he, God forbid, finds a new team, Jake.
Don't do it, JT.
I know.
Don't do it.
I know. What are the Phillies going to do? What are the other options out there?
So the short answer to this, Marshall, and I talked about this a little bit on the free agent rap podcast that we did. The answer is there's not really a lot of other options. In particular, not a lot of other better options.
Right.
So let's start with what we've got. All right,
Okay.
JT, 35 years old, 4 WAR, wins above replacement.
Yeah.
So the dude's elite.
Yeah.
12 home runs, 257 average. Not elite, but
No.
solid, right? It's not even good for him, but it's solid when you look around the league.
And this is just last year's stats, right? This isn't previous season.
This is just 2025. We're just looking at, what did he put on the table? And I think that's really, we should look at it like that because I think that's how front offices.
How do you measure them now?
Right. Front offices are concerned with what are you going to give me next year? Right. They're not, now prospects are another story, but I'm talking about a starting catcher in the MLB. You got to look at what are you going to give me?
Right. Middle of his career. Where's he going?
And JT is, in my opinion, he's like elite tier defensively.
Mm-hmm.
He's solid with the bat.
Yeah.
The downside, he's 35 years old. Right. He's not a young man.
No.
Catcher is notoriously a position that doesn't age very well.
Mm-mm.
But I think we have to start with the fact that, in my opinion, he is the free agent catcher. And we're not going to talk about trades because you could realistically trade for anyone at any time if you have the right prospects to do so. So if you just eliminate that possibility, you're not going to go trade for an Adley Rutschman.
Right.
You want to get the best catcher who is a free agent who
Gonna be on
needs
the
a new
market.
contract. It is JT Realmuto, and I don't think there's much of an argument against that.
No, I mean it's not super close. I mean the other one that's on here that we have listed is Salvador Perez at 3.8 WAR, 36
Right.
years old. But what do we know about that club option, Jake? What's the situation
So
there?
so basically the Royals have the ability to say you're coming back.
Okay.
And listen, that's why it gets tricky with this because you don't know if Salvador Perez is actually going to be available. And that's he's kind of the 1B to
Right.
Real Muto's 1A.
Yeah.
Well, if we don't bring JT back, we can always go get Salvador Perez. But the Royals, listen, the Royals are in an awkward situation because they have Salvador Perez, whose contract is up, and they also have Luke Maile, whose
Hmm.
contract is up. So it's like they got to, in theory, bring back at least one of them,
Right.
right? It's probably a much more appealing option for the Royals to bring back Sal, considering he's only a year younger. He's nowhere close to the hitter he is. And Salvador Perez, he is getting older, but he is another guy that's really, really, really good defensively.
Yeah.
Uh,
And he could still
so
mash. I mean, 30 homers for a catcher is
right,
really good.
yeah. Listen, if you're talking about a strictly offensive move,
That's the
Salvador
move.
Perez is the guy, right?
Yeah.
If you aren't concerned, and maybe being in win now mode, he's maybe a more appealing option slightly. But again, like the hang up for JT is the dude wants a 3-year contract, and for a
Hmm.
35-year-old catcher, we're in almost unprecedented territory there.
Yeah.
Can Salvador Perez maybe uh go for a 1-year deal?
Take a one or two,
Um,
maybe.
right, maybe a two. See, and even for me, when you get into two, it's like I'd rather JT. He's a year younger, much
Hmm.
better, like physical shape. I mean, JT's just like an athlete, man.
Yeah.
He's dude's fit. He's quick.
Yeah.
He's like
You're
all
not
of
going to
his.
get a stolen base from Perez.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like it's overall, as I say, JT's the better guy. Salvador might be the more offensive option. But when you look past him, you get very quickly into you're taking a flyer on a guy.
Right.
Victor Caratini's a guy that I think we got to talk about. He's hit 259, 12 dingers for the Astros. In my opinion, he'd be like more of a like for like replacement, not to the level. I don't think Caratini is at JT's level, but
Yeah.
he's like more of a similar, more similar at the plate, good defensively.
Hmm.
He's kind of the, like the Timu JT Realmuto. Um, but again, after that, you go, ooh, we're taking a huge risk on some of these guys. Like there's names, James McCann's in there, but again, 36.
Yeah.
He's another elite defensive catcher, but like there's no like superstar young gun you really want to go out and get.
Yeah. All these guys on the list. Can we go down it real quick? Just, okay. Danny Jansen.
Rattle them off, yeah.
Yeah. Christian Vasquez, James McCann, Elias Diaz, Tomas Nido, Austin Barnes, Gary Sanchez, Mitch Garver, Luke Maile, Tom Murphy, Jacob Stallings. All these guys are on the wrong side of 30, Jake.
And you think about like I'd give you up until like Elias Diaz, where you go, okay, like I'd work with that, right?
Yeah.
Once you start getting into like Nito, Barnes, like Jacob Stallings, I'm going,
Yeah.
I don't want any part of that. Like,
I mean, man, how do you feel? How do you feel about Sanchez, though? I mean, I know he played
okay,
fewer games, but
he's
is he going to
kind
come
of the,
back?
right. He's like the one where you go, like the flyer might be worth it, right?
Yeah.
Because we saw what the dude did for the Yankees. I mean,
Yeah.
he can mash. But two like debilitating injuries for him last year. Only played 29 games. Again, 33. Like there's just no like young guns out there. Like all MLB clubs have figured out when you got a young catcher who's a stud, keep him forever. Like
Yep.
they've just figured that out.
Yep.
You look at like the Adley Rutschmans of the world. You look
Yep.
at I mean, even like the Cal Raleighs of the world.
Hmm.
Like there's just there's not a lot of bargains to be had in the catcher space.
Catcher real estate's thin right now.
Right. And when we're going up and down this list, and there's like at least one glaring problem with all of them. And I guess the alternative is we have a guy that might develop into
Right.
that young stud catcher in Marchand. I
Yeah.
mean, Rafael Marchand, again, very limited games because JT was an iron horse as he always is. Only played 26 games. So Marchand with a 210 average and 2 home runs. Listen, he did his job. He was solid defensively. Had a couple big hits when he was playing, but this was JT's team.
Yep. Absolutely.
And so there's if we didn't have this kind of aging core, I would say let's just see what the kid can do, right? Switch hitting catcher. He was exciting in the minors. Let's see what he can do. But based on where the rest of this roster's at, Marshall, I don't know if we can afford to take that mindset.
Yeah, and we talked about this last week, but I think it bears repeating. This is a question of what is your philosophy on the direction of the franchise? Is this rebuild
Right.
time, or is this let's pack it in one more go? We really screwed up. We screwed up again. We're going to come back. This is it. This is it. This is seriously the one. Been doing it.
I've been hearing that for years.
I know. That's what I'm saying. This is the time. Now we got to do it. And it's so I think I'm a little divided on this because I could see wanting to bring JT back, but you kind of mentioned it. This is probably the last deal of his career. I mean,
Right.
that's how it feels to me. Is it
At least as like a full-time starting catcher.
Yes,
He might be
yes.
goes a DH route, they move him to first, something like that. But like in
Right.
terms of like huge productivity from behind the plate, I think you're right.
Squatting
This
behind
is it.
home is not
right.
something people want to do when they're almost 40 years old.
Right.
And I think you're going to start to see at some point, which is another thing with all these guys, at what point are you going to really see a drop off in production? That you got to hedge against that as much as possible.
Right.
I don't know. I think that if you're playing loyalty, if you're doing what Bryce Harper wants you to do, then you're keeping JT.
Right. And listen, we got to talk about like if JT takes a 2-year deal, for me it's a no-brainer. Just sign the like give him what he wants.
Yep.
Sign the paper. Let's move on and we'll talk about other positions. The problem is he's 35 and he wants a 3-year deal. Marshall, I think there's one other catcher that's warranted that. Do you know who it is?
Yadier Molina.
Yadier Molina. That's the kind of air we're in right now.
Yeah.
Like, no doubt, Hall of Fame, Yadier Molina.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. So,
I'm actually so surprised that I got that.
yeah, you nailed that. Actually, that was pretty cool. But listen, JT is an elite catcher. Is he at that level? Is he worth a 3-year deal as a 35-year-old catcher? When you point to how good of a shape he's in, like how the injuries JT gets are like contact injuries. Like the dude got hit by a foul tip. He got hit by a pitch.
Yep.
He's not leaving with an oblique strain or anything like that. He's an athlete. And he's
Right.
like the longevity from that position to be able to play as many games as he has from the catcher position is rare air. It really is. But you wonder, and I hate even thinking about this, does that weigh on him as he ages? Are all these games that he's been playing for the Phillies being a real like henchman for us? Just playing a day game after a night game, which is like unwritten rule that you don't do.
Right.
He's done that the entire time he's been with us.
Mm-hmm.
And you just wonder, is that going to come back to bite you towards the end of this 3-year deal?
I know.
And it's something they got to consider.
Yeah. Well, then but I also think like if you're going to retain Marchand here, Okay, let's say that does happen. Let's say JT does have a drop off. Is Marshawn your insurance plan? Is he going to stay with this team without assurances of being the starting catcher? And if
Right.
so, are you okay with that eventuality that
Right.
at his 37-year age or 37 season, JT is not going to be your everyday starter. Maybe he is splitting time 50-50 with Marshawn. Maybe he's coming in the DH spot. Because who knows
Right.
if you don't have a DH that's a prominent DH at that point, who knows if we're keeping Schwartz?
Right.
Maybe JT makes sense for you. So I think it's kind of a multifaceted question here. Do you want to keep that superstar catcher that you've got that is one of the best in the league and is the best on the market right now, and roll with him late into his as he closes in on the
Yeah.
sunset,
His golden years.
yeah, yeah,
At 38.
yeah, yeah, and bank on Marshawn coming in and developing a little bit more, keeping Stubbs in the background a little bit if needed, or do you want to make a move? If you're not going to pay JT, do you want to pay any of these other guys?
Yeah,
I think
and that's
not.
why I said it when we had our first podcast. JT should be above Kyle Schwarber because of what you just said. Look at what we just mentioned.
Mhm.
There's nothing better than JT out there. I say you sign him, give him the 3 years. Maybe he's a DH that last year. So be it. By that point, hopefully we have a ring or two on our fingers that we can sleep on when we go to bed at night and be unbothered by the fact that maybe we're paying a JT who needs a walker because he played another 150 games for
Right.
the Philadelphia Phillies behind the plate.
I mean, we did that for Ryan Howard to the very
Right.
end. So
Yeah,
I
he's
mean,
on one leg.
yeah,
The poor guy had one ankle.
I know. We kept him out there. So why can't we do it for
Yeah.
JT? I
All
think
right.
it's an interesting conversation. We will watch how it plays out. Hey, we'll be back next week with a look ahead to a very important matchup in the NFC, Eagles and Packers. I'm really looking forward to this one. It's going to be one of the most, I think, exciting contests of the year for the Eagles and probably the
doubt.
biggest test to this point in the season for the Birds. So we are very excited to talk about that one. We will be back here next week. Jake, you want to take it away?
We're going to be back for the love of Broad Street.
See ya.